Hello, class. Today I'm going over Chapter 14, Marketing, Part 1. So, what is marketing? Well, when you come right down to it, marketing is where we're promoting a product or service using multiple media. So that is the one of the big differences that you'll see between marketing and advertising. Usually, when we are talking about a marketing campaign, there's going to be a core message and it's going to be adjusted based on the media that we are using. And occasionally, when our target audience is going to adjust depending on that medium. So we still have a core message, but it is, and we are still promoting a product, service, or idea. However, the way we're promoting it will adjust within the campaign depending on which medium and which target audience we're looking at. Now, in advertising, this is still a paid informative communication, but it often will fit inside of the concept of marketing. So this is where we're looking at one core message that was developed in a creative brief, and it's focused on one medium. So in advertising, we have that paid informative communication promoting a product, good, or service to our target audience. So a single target audience, single message, single medium. Marketing, we still have a core message. However, that core message will vary slightly based on our medium and our target audience. And we are probably going to have multiple advertising campaigns within the primary marketing campaign. All right, so a marketing campaign. What is a marketing campaign? Well, it's a series of promotions related to a product or service. Now, this could mean multiple advertising campaigns within it. It probably also includes some kind of public relations reach out where you have public relations copy, and other media are going to often be involved, put together into this primary campaign with a core message. Now, there are lots of different kinds of campaigns. Some of them include social media campaigns, direct mail campaigns. It could be something with product marketing or even brand development. So, kind of brand awareness, but also developing concepts related to the brand with our target market. And it could even be something like a user generated content campaign where we are reaching out to our target audience and our target market in general and specific parts of our target market with the target audiences, and asking them for user generated content. So asking them to be a part of our campaign. So lots of different approaches in marketing, just like in advertising, really. So a lot of different ways we can go about developing a marketing campaign. So here's a guideline in general whenever we're talking about planning a marketing campaign. You usually start out just like we talked about with advertising. You want to research your product, your service, or your company. So depending on what kind of campaign you're running, you want to look at the relevant information and then use that information to help you set a SMART goal, SMART. We'll go over that in just a second. You also will need to execute that plan. So put your SMART goal into action. And as the campaign continues, you are going to collect data. So starting from the beginning to the end. So preliminary information that you found in your research And then at least one point along the way during the campaign where you will collect information about how people are reacting to it. Are your target audience members reacting positively or in the way you expected at least, or are they not reacting to it? If they aren't, you have that information in your data where to help you figure out why, and then you can adjust the campaign as needed. So you want to collect some information from the people who hired you, from your client or your employer, if you're an in-house group, and ask them about what they expect to get out of this. And that means asking them to help you clarify the core message. What do they think is going on? Um, you also want to develop a target audience profile and figure out why your target audience should be interested in this particular campaign. How does this benefit them? So, what are they getting out of the message or messages that you are sending out to them? So, how do we figure that out? Well, we need to develop a SMART goal. Start with something broad based on what your clients have said that they want, and redefine it as a SMART goal. So, SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Again, they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Now, SMART goals provide benchmarks for success. This helps us to define a clear beginning and end to our campaign, and defining our beginning and ending and what we consider success, like what would success look like, that helps us to stay on track during the campaign and also to avoid being too vague where we maybe don't know if we succeeded or not. So, specific. What is the campaign's purpose? What are we hoping to accomplish? Now, this could mean generating revenue through clicks on banner ads. It could mean actually selling product. It could be increasing brand awareness or product awareness. It could be an event that's coming up and we're advertising that event. So, creating awareness about the event, or by pre-selling some tickets to that event. So, whatever our campaign's goal is, we need to state specifically what it is we're hoping to accomplish. We also want that specific item to be measurable. So that means we need to have some kind of numerical data. We need numbers that we can track and figure out whether or not we have succeeded or failed. And this is where doing that research comes into play and looking at what we've been able to accomplish in the past to help us set a reasonable goal for the present. So, if we want to increase sales, for example, and in the past we were able to increase sales by 4%, then maybe using similar techniques or a modified sales technique, we're able to increase sales 10% this time. Um, so, again, that's avoiding vague language like a lot or a little or some, and using actual values that we can track and measure. And again, we do want this to be attainable. So we need to research our company's history, see what they were able to do in the past, how they how they went about doing it, or at least looking at a company of a similar size. So either someone with a similar following on Instagram, if we're an influencer and we're looking to increase the number of people following us, or someone with a who's in the same kind of business and has something about the same size. So, soda company, for example, if we're a local soda company, we would look at other local soda companies in similar markets to help us figure out how they were able to increase sales or whatever our goal is with this. And we also want our goals to be relevant. So, not just making goals for goals' sake, you want to understand what you're trying to accomplish and explain the purpose of that goal. So, how will it improve our business? How is this going to affect the bottom line of the business? Is it going to increase awareness and therefore increase the number of followers that we have on social media? Or is it something that is going to achieve a specific goal like increasing sales? So figure out how this goal relates to your client's business or if it's your business to your business. And we also want this to be time bound. So define your start and end points. You want to have a clear beginning and ending, and at least one measurable point in the middle of the campaign where you can see if this is working or not. And though that way, whenever you measure what's going on partway through the campaign, you can see if you need to go in and maybe adjust the way your message is getting out or some other aspect of the campaign. Now, here's a SMART goal example. Let's say we run a blog and we want to increase blog traffic. Then our specific goal would be I want to boost our blog's traffic by increasing weekly publishing frequency from 5 to 8 times a week. Our two bloggers will increase their workload from writing 2 posts to 3 posts, and our editor will increase her workload from writing 1 post to 2 per week. And how are we measuring this? Well, our goal is an 8% increase in traffic. So we are measuring the amount of traffic, so the number of people visiting the site. You can use things like Google Analytics to help you with that kind of data. And you also want this to be attainable. So is this attainable? Well, our blog traffic increased by 5% last month when we increased our weekly publishing frequency from 3 to 5 times per week. So it does sound like something that we could reasonably accomplish. And is this relevant? How does this relate to our business? By increasing blog traffic, we'll boost brand awareness and generate more leads, giving sales more opportunities to close. So, our overall goal with this blog is developing sales opportunities. So that means increasing traffic will increase awareness of our brand and of our website, and probably lead more people to the sales pages on the website. And this is time bound. It is going to take place over a 1 month period. So that means our SMART goal, in summary, is at the end of this month, our blog will see an 8% lift in traffic by increasing our weekly publishing frequency from 5 to 8 posts per week. So you can see we went through each of the relevant SMART pieces of information in our goal, and we're able to summarize what's going on for our client. Now let's look at marketing campaign terms. So our first term is a core message. And this is our single compelling message that must be communicated. So, bottom line, what is it that we are communicating to our audience? What supporting evidence backs up this kind of claim, and how does this compelling message relate to our audience? So we are making it compelling by relating it to our target audience, and we are explaining explicitly to them often what it is that they are getting out of this product or this service or this idea. So we again are developing a core message where the audience will receive the defining properties about a product or service. And this core message is used by the marketing team to help them refine what's called copy. So, what is copy? Well, copy is the advertising, public relations, or marketing text. So, all three of those refer to the audience facing information. So, the part that if you are looking at a billboard, the stuff that's on the billboard, or the information that you hear in the commercial. So when whatever it is that the actors are saying whenever you're listening to a commercial, that would also be copy. Or the press release is going to be copy as well. That's the part that you are sending out to your target audience. And it's supposed to convince the reader or the viewer to engage with that product, service, or idea, which is why we develop a core message to help us stay on task with that main idea that we want to communicate throughout all of our media. Now, here's an example advertisement from Ricola, the cough drop people, and it says she's just a friend. So they're um they're making a little joke, of course, about whenever you actually have someone who's just a friend, if you were talking to your significant other about someone and you said she's just a friend, then it sounds like you mean the exact opposite of what you're saying. So that their tagline at the bottom, make sure good news sounds like good news, and that you have, of course, a cough drop available when needed. It's to, of course, keep you from coughing at inopportune moments. Now, here's another one from Snickers. I'll give you a second to look at it. Now, this says, "Oh dear, it's hard to spell when you're hungry. If you keep making typing mistakes, grab yourself a Snickers fast." And if you look at the advertisement, you can see that they used the incorrect your. They misspelled several words in the ad on purpose, um, and have a missing apostrophe in the it's, uh, all that kind of stuff. So they're purposefully misspelling things to drive home the point, but still leaving it legible enough for the average audience member to see what's going on. So even if you maybe didn't catch all of the errors in it, then you, as the audience member, will at least have you'll see one or two of them and get the point. Now, another key term in marketing is branding. And branding, these are qualities that are associated with a brand. So, pretty self explanatory in that sense. So, what are we talking about when we say qualities associated with a brand, well, think about what characteristics come to mind when you hear the word Nike. So, most people, when they hear Nike, they think sports clothes, or they might think specifically about shoes and athleticism. And they also might think of professionalism. Now, if you're a little more of a into like Greek mythology and stuff, they when you hear Nike and you see the swoosh and everything, the check mark is usually a positive sign already. But on top of that, the Nike swoosh is actually part of the goddess Nike, or the goddess of victory. It's supposed to represent the side of her wings. So when you hear the Nike brand, those qualities of athleticism, clothing, um, positive uh, victory, that kind of stuff, those are qualities associated with that brand. So branding. Now, a brand dictionary is actually a tool used by an organization to redefine industry jargon within the company. Now, a lot of places use this nowadays, but Disney is especially famous for doing this. Whenever you become part of their corporation, when you work at one of their retail locations or their theme parks, they have specific terms to refer to both the people working in the park and the people who are visiting. For example, Disney calls their customers guests and their employees team members. So those are specific terms that are related by Disney to people working there. And they have like a little handbook with those kinds of terms in them, where they'll say, yeah, like this is the front of house. This is if you're out in the area where people can see you, or this is the back of house. So, like in a very similar to in a theater, that kind of thing. Um, but if we look at it in relation to other retailers or other theme parks, you can see that we do have other relevant terms. Like normally you would say that these are our customers and this is the main floor area, maybe, or something like that. So again, a brand dictionary is specific to a company where they have particular terms that they use for industry jargon. Now, a word bank is a list of terms that should be used in copy. This is what one of the items that you are adding for your particular campaign for this class. So, this is where we look at terms that are repeated or things that we want to repeat in our either in interviews or in our billboards or magazines or what have you. And these specific terms help to identify a brand's feel. And this specific language is repeated often throughout those different types of copy. For example, if we're talking about a high end restaurant, then if we're being interviewed about it's a new location opening, then the person being interviewed might say that the restaurant is refined, or that the dining area is elegant, that kind of thing. And you'll also see those kinds of terms on the restaurant's website. So people, and you'll mimic that idea with the photos or any video that's being posted. Now, brand awareness means that we are increasing a brand's visibility, its memorability, and its value. And this is when a brand is being associated with an action or an event. For example, you use a Band Aid brand bandage to cover a cut. Now, Band Aid is a brand, and this is one of those where we start getting into trademark and copyright issues. If a brand becomes synonymous with a particular product, then often it will decrease their trademarks kind of viability a little bit. Like when they go to court, if if they try to claim copyright infringement, um, it's going to have a little more trouble if the brand has become a shorthand for a particular product. For example, again, with Band-Aid brand bandages, people often say they're going to use a Band-Aid to on a cut. Or like when you're going to blow your nose, what do you blow your nose in? You blow it in a Kleenex. But technically, Kleenex is a brand of tissue paper. Now, another term you should know related to marketing is KPI, or key performance indicators. Now, what are KPIs, key performance indicators? Well, this is what we're measuring whenever we are progressing toward our goal. This is the thing that we are determining during our research phase, that we need to measure this in order to figure out if we have achieved our goal. So, for example, if we say that our campaign goal is to gather customer feedback or content in a user-generated content campaign, you could measure things like Instagram engagements. What are engagements? Well, that's usually likes, comments, follows, that kind of thing, profile tags. Um, you could also, if you're focusing on user-generated content from emails, you could check email open rates and click-throughs. So times that people clicked on links in the emails. Also blog views, clicking on links in there, or shares on social media. Now, you can have primary and secondary KPI. Primary KPI, again, key performance indicators, directly relate to reaching your SMART goal. For example, with the SMART goal, the goal of my marketing campaign is to gather user-generated content from 100 customers via a branded hashtag on Instagram featuring our new product line by December 31st. Well, then this is going to cover multiple platforms like Instagram, emails, blogs. Um, but our SMART goal relates to one facet of the marketing campaign. So the overall user-generated content campaign will cover several different platforms, but this specific part of it related to this one SMART goal is going to focus on engagements on Instagram. So our primary KPI in this instance would be Instagram engagements, so likes, comments, shares, that kind of thing, and profile tags. Now, how do you choose key performance indicators? We have quantitative and qualitative data. Whenever you do any kind of work in research, you are always going to have these two types of data, or two possibilities for data collection. Now, quantitative data, that's quantity, think numbers. So, quantitative, the numbers that you are measuring to track progress. Now, we can also collect what's called qualitative data. If you look at the roots for each of these, it kind of helps you to remember what they are. So, again, quantitative, quantity, that's a number. Qualitative, quality, those are more, think of it more like the quality of a person or the quality of a product. You don't use a number necessarily. This is something where we are looking at more written reactions. So, customer feedback would be an example. What words keep cropping up? And you can often collect, if you have like a large pool of customer feedback, let's say 600 reviews, then you could take all of that review feedback and create a kind of, there's a way to put all of it together and see which words keep popping up over and over again. So, what are the most common phrases that keep appearing? And then, after you figure out what those phrases are, you want to figure out the feeling behind those words. So, the connotation. Remember, we talked about denotation and connotation. So, what is the feeling behind the words or phrases being used? And then you want to use a combination of the numbers that you're receiving. Uh, so let's say we're working on customer feedback and we have both a star rating and we also have specific words or phrases that keep popping up. We would put both of those things together to help us figure out what our customers are responding to and how they feel about this product or service. Now, whenever we are developing KPI and deciding which ones to use, you, of course, do need to choose your key performance indicators based on what you need to measure. Um, but there is also something called the logic model that can help you to figure out whether or not you are investing appropriately in particular aspects of a campaign or of a company. And what you do is first you have the inputs, the activities, the outputs, and the outcomes. So the input, this is the resource being invested. It could be time. It could be a number of posts, or maybe if we're looking at marketing and advertising specifically, we can see we want to see how much is being invested in developing those magazine ads or continuing to run them. And then our process or activity, we're measuring the efficiency, quality, or consistency of the actions. So this could include things like if we're looking at overall running our business, what tools and equipment or what training is going on, and we can use that activity as part of what we're measuring. So we're measuring how much work is being done and defining what is being produced by what we are putting into the business in terms of our general resources as well as activities. And then finally, at the end, we have our final accomplishment or impact. So our outcome. Um, Again, so we're starting with our inputs, so whatever resources we're investing, and then we move into our activities, and then during our output, we're measuring how much work is being done and defining what is produced, and our outcome is going to be the overall impact of what's happened. So if we're looking at this, our outcomes, here are some examples. Like an intermediate outcome would, whenever we're talking about a marketing campaign, could be brand awareness. So in the meantime, people become more aware of our product or service because of these ads or because of our press releases and audience engagement. And then at the end, our end outcome will be customer retention and sales. So we want to, especially if you're working in an environment where you're selling a product or service, you want to keep people coming back. So you have that longer term end outcome of getting people to stay with your brand and continue to buy your products or your service. Now, here are some additional references in case you want to learn more about key performance indicators and how to choose KPIs. And I also have some other resources that I found, but didn't necessarily consult as much whenever I was going through here. I just thought they were interesting and things that you might enjoy. All right, up next, we will look at part two of marketing platforms and tools.